Hi everyone, it's Sue Coffey here, and I am tasked with the wonderful job of saying hello to all of you in all sections of this course on behalf of the entire teaching team. So without further ado, on behalf of Hildy Zitzelsberger is the professor for one section, myself, Sue Coffey, Julie, Magdalena, and Alexandra, who are our fantastic TAs. Welcome to Interprofessional Practice. I am thrilled to be teaching you this course. We've got a really large section. Hildy and I have had the pleasure of teaching this course together and separately for many years and really have a passion for it and are very different by nature. So you'll find that throughout the course, we are collaborating extensively. Sometimes you'll hear me talking in video lectures. Sometimes you'll hear Hildy. Part of that is to bring different perspectives together as we go through the course. And we'll integrate both our own lives, our own experiences, and our own perspectives of the literature as we do that. So welcome to the course. I look forward to having the opportunity to get to know you. And I know Hildy is in the same boat, that she's excited to be teaching the course along with me. And also that both of us are wondering how it's going to go with 120 students per section, but we are thrilled to bring on new ideas and hope that all of you will have a fantastic experience. And we trust that you're going to talk to us as we move our way through the course. So a little bit about the course. Here's the course description. I'm not really going to read every word about it, but you understand. It's focusing on the meaning and the nature of purposeful relationships and interactions in your healthcare practice. So we'll talk about a whole bunch of different concepts. Some of them you'll have heard about: teamwork or conflict management, negotiation, change process. But here we're really advancing that thinking and situating it within the context specifically of interprofessional practice. Some of us, the learners in their class will be bridgers, so they're RPNs who are moving on to earn their RN degree. And some of our learners will be BSCN students. Some are second degree, so you've already earned a degree and you're out working. Some of our learners are direct from high school and in their first degree. All of you have had many experiences already in clinical, in life, and other places. And we hope we can bring all of that together as we really focus on these concepts. Again, I'm not going to read all of these objectives, but here's the basis. You're going to really look at what the strengths and limitations of interprofessional practice, explore your own values and your own beliefs that impact your ability to practice interprofessionally, to look at things like communication, negotiation, conflict resolution. Empowerment is a really important concept, and we'll talk about that. Compare and contrast the things that are both influencers and also have a negative effect on interprofessional practice. Look at things like code of ethics and team functioning and dynamics and how they impact interprofessional practice. We're going to look at the need for quality improvement strategies, and we're going to apply all of this as much as we can to practice as we move through the course. The textbook for the course, I've had the pleasure of working with Dr. Charles Anunam in writing and editing this book, and it will be available to you. Hold on a second. It'll be available to you. Sorry, this is my little daughter, Kate here, who just wants to be with mommy for a second, and I'm going to talk to her in a sec. But let's talk to you just till we finish. This textbook is available to you either as a paperback. You can order it anywhere. And if you have any trouble getting it, let us know, or an electronic version, or through the publisher, you can get a 6-month rental. So you just pay for access to the textbook for 6 months. However you would like to obtain that text is just fine. We will work extensively with the textbook, and we will end up, I think Hildy and I will post chapter 1 for you in week 1, so that if you haven't yet got your textbook as you're just learning this information, you will be able to at least have the first week. But beyond that, you'll need to get this from somewhere. You may be able to buy it from students who previously took the course, other things like that. Let's look at the course as we move our way through. And you'll see that there's a document that you can find called Course at a Glance, and it really provides an overview of everything that you're going to be doing week by week. And so here are the first 4 weeks of the course. Week 1, welcome, an overview of the course, and that's me. And also there'll be a posting for Introduction to IPP, Introduction to Interprofessional Practice, and that's chapter 1. And for week 1, I am going to record that overview for both Hildy and myself. There's also your first of your engagement activities, and that's a scavenger hunt. And this is, I think, great. The scavenger hunt requires that you look through the course, find a variety of things that we're asking you to find, where your small group is, where the discussion boards, what date things are due, a whole bunch of other things, and fill out a document, upload it, and guess what? Complete it accurately, 3% bonus, right? Okay, so that's week 1. The deadlines for submissions of these activities, postings, and that course scavenger hunt are firm. And that's the only thing that we're going to say really about that, is that it's so important to keep on, that we keep really on track with that, and we will make sure that everything is available to you. But it's really important that they, unless there's something very specific and you very specifically communicated with Hildy or I or your TAs, that your postings are up by the required time and your submissions are in by the required time. Okay, so week 2, you'll see as we move our way through here, we're going to look at frameworks. That's chapter 2 in the Coffey and Anyonym textbook. And also we'll provide you with a link to the National Interprofessional Competency Framework. There it is. Foundations of Interprofessional Practice starts in week 3, looking at teams and teamwork and also roles and relationships. And then by week 4, we're looking at Introduction to Collaboration. At the end, I'm going to talk about test dates in a minute. So those are the first 4 weeks. Week 5 will be a test, and it'll be on those materials. And I'll talk to you about that in a minute. We have a break, and then we come back week 6, sorry. And in week 6, we'll carry on. Foundations of Interprofessional Practice carries on, and we'll talk about problem solving, conflict resolution, and negotiation. And you'll start to see that you've got postings that are due, and I'll talk about those again in a minute too. Week 7, we carry on with Foundations of Interprofessional Practice, and we talk about leadership. Week 8, we've got Issues in Interprofessional Practice, and we're going to really focus on interprofessional education in that class. And then week 9, we've got Issues in Interprofessional Practice 2, and we're going to talk about healthcare policy and healthcare regulation. That's the second grouping of classes, and at the end of that grouping in week 10, you'll have a test. Again, I'll talk to you in a minute. And then we'll come back for week 11, and we'll talk about Issues in Interprofessional Practice 3, practice outcomes and measuring success. And we'll talk in week 12 about future directions, moving beyond interprofessional practice to intersectoral collaboration. And we'll wrap up the course. Oh my gosh, I already feel sad that the course is going to be ending. So what often a lot of students really want to focus on as they begin a course, and I really understand that, is what are the evaluations, right? What am I going to be graded on? What are the things that are due? There are 4 different kinds of evaluations. There's going to be some individual group postings, individual postings, and some activities. There'll be 2 midterm tests, and there'll be a final exam. And so let's take a look at the exams first, because that's the most straightforward. On February 9th, you'll have your first midterm test. That covers weeks 1 to 4. There's no class that week, just the test. It is open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. It will be 2 hours long, but you can, as long as you've completed it by 11 p.m., you're fine. So the latest you could start if you wanted the full 2 hours is 9 p.m. The test is closed book, and you will use Respondus with camera. That will be a multiple choice test, and Hildy and I will try to provide you with some multiple choice question examples week by week as we go through. So that is February 9th, closed book, Respondus with camera. Midterm test 2 happens March 26th. Again, a multiple choice. It's a closed book, and we use Respondus with camera. It is covering the materials only from weeks 6 to 9. So 4 more weeks, 6 to 9. Again, the exam is open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., but you have a 2-hour frame. Once you start, you must complete in that frame, in that time period, and then you're done. And then you have a final exam that'll happen in the exam period. That's worth 35%. And the final exam will cover not only the last 2 chapters of the textbook, chapters 10 and 11, but it will also cover all of the other material. So it will be a cumulative exam, it'll be multiple choice, and you will find information available later in the course. You also have individual and group postings and activities, and you're required to participate in these. It's really critical. So each of these submissions are going to be awarded a grade based on the rubric. So take a look at that, the evaluation document, and you'll see the rubrics. And it's really important that you read that description. You're all going to be placed in small groups. The small groups consist of about 6 students. You'll have to do 3 group postings and 3 individual responses. So on the weeks that they are assigned, and you'll take a look at the syllabus and the course at a glance, and slowly this will begin to make sense, but you will, as your small group of 6, respond to the posting requirement. 2 out of the 6 will be a lead for each of the 3 postings. And then you will independently the following week respond. It's important to recognize that you should not expect individual feedback. These are all just postings or responses that are worth 3 marks. What you will get from Hildy and I is the question or the expectation. The rubric should be clear in terms of the literature that you have to pull in and the depth that we're expecting. And you will be able to see from the other groups in the group posting exactly how other groups are responding to these challenges, to these posting requirements. We will, for all of the weeks where we have a group posting, we will ask groups who have done a really outstanding job, if we can take their names off it and just really point to that as exceptional in some way to give you a sense of what an exceptional post looks like. Remember, you'll have a rubric that goes from 0 where you haven't done it to 3, which is really outstanding. Just meeting the criteria is not a 3 out of 3. Meeting the criteria gets you probably a 2 out of 3. Marginally meeting it gets a 1. Not doing it gets a 0. Outstanding work will get you a 3. So we're not going to respond individually to 120 different student posts or to all of the different group posts, but we are instead going to respond, or going to show you, highlight really outstanding posts. Additionally, because there are so many students in each section, we are going to split you into 2 different large group discussion posting areas. So all of you are going to be in a small group. There are about 20 small groups per section. So you have a small group of 6. There are about 20 small groups per section. So groups 1 to 10 will be in one discussion forum, large group discussion forum when you post your summaries, and groups 11 to 20 will be in another, just to keep down the chaos. This will all be described to you in your small group forum, where you will find out who your other group members are, and you'll find out which large group discussion board your team will be posting to. So week 1, remember, it's kind of a bonus, 3 marks out of 100 already under your belt for doing the scavenger hunt. And you're going to find that with the week 1 materials, and the postings come a little bit later. So you have some opportunity to, as we work our way towards it, to hear a little bit more about it, the tests we've talked about, midterm 1, midterm 2, and then a final exam. I'm going to ask you to read this over again, but understanding what substantive engagement looks like within a course where you're asked to do some postings. And it really is that idea that you move beyond just saying good work, I really liked your posting or other things, but to really stating a position, using literature, a minimum of 2 scholarly references beyond the course textbook. And that's not just a Google reference, right? A scholarly reference that really makes a point you're trying to make, or supports your the statements you're trying to make, or other things. It's so important that you bring that scholarly literature in. Important to make your own connections between the posting requirement, your readings, and the ideas that you're presenting. Looking at the thinking that's being presented and the dialogue that's happening and how you can respond or engage with it, and really moving that dialogue forward. It's really important that because you're in an interprofessional course, we're not actually asking you to develop your own groups or self-assign, but we're assigning you to small teams of students. And that's sort of the way you would go into work, and you'd be assigned to a team within your work setting. You're going to post within those small groups. Remember, I told you, and one of the things you'll do in week 1 in your scavenger hunt is find your small group and say hello to everybody, and also determine which of the 3 times you do those small group synthesis postings you will co-lead. So you're going to decide that right away. So you'll find everyone there. And also that you remember, I just told you you're going to be assigned, your team will be assigned to one of those large group or whole class discussion forums, and that you'll, after everyone has responded within the small group, that in the weeks that you lead, you'll take everyone's responses and create a synthesis or a summary response that reflects everyone's thinking, and then post that for the large group. It's important to read those other group posts, and in the following week to respond. Remember, we just talked substantively, to respond substantively and contribute to the learning environment. So important that as I, give a quick overview of these ideas, that you then go back and look at all of the documents that are provided in the course to really support you. Timing of weekly materials and updates. It's important to keep in mind that weekly, the module will open at noon on Mondays. So if you're looking for the module or you're wondering what's going to happen in week 4, other than the course at the glance, you can expect that the module opens at noon on Monday. And it does that because both Hildy and I and the TAs who are working with you work in such a way that we respond to what's happening in a very organic way. And each week builds on the previous. So if something became problematic in a previous week, we would expand upon it, or if something became very obvious, we might move forward in some other areas. It's important to recognize the kinds of materials that you'll get. Hopefully these video lectures are interesting to you, and both Hildy and I will record. Sometimes we'll record for our own classes. Sometimes both of us may use a recording by either Hildy or myself, and we'll see how that goes. And you can let us know if you prefer something different. But that's sort of our plan. We'll also have some text-based materials that you'll see, some YouTube links, a whole bunch of other things. You'll see your discussion topics that are posted in the small group, or sometimes you're going to respond in that large group. And also the discussion topics are not going to be posted until a week before as well. Same as the same as your modules as they open. Weekly readings are included in the course syllabus, and I expect that is roughly what we're looking at for the weekly readings. If there's going to be anything added, we'll give you plenty of notice. Again, we talked about those large group synthesis postings 3 times per team, and they're due at midnight on the assigned date, so end of day. And then their individual substantive responses posted the following week. So just a reminder, contact information, Sue Coffey, I'm teaching, I think it's section 1, and you contact me through Canvas. Hildy Zitzelsberger, section, I think it's 2, contact through Canvas, whichever you're assigned, you'll find us in your Canvas section. And we're going to introduce you, link you to your TAs in week 1 of the course, so you'll know who is the TA working specifically with you. We're available, all of us are available through phone or video conference, or to just email and respond to things. Keeping in mind, again, it's not your fault, and I don't want you to think that we don't want to respond to you immediately. We're doing our very best, and I promise throughout the term we'll do our very best. But what we'd like to promise is we'll do our very best to answer within 2 business days to any questions, typically not on the weekends and not after business hours. And I apologize because of the chaos that many of you will have heard through this recording. That is my children upstairs doing their best to be quiet. So imagine when they're not doing their best to be quiet. But so typically not on the weekends or after business hours, and we will do our very best to answer within 2 business days. We'll try hard to answer, as quickly as we can. Sometimes we answer just right away. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but our goal is to keep to that. And trust us, if anything happens in life, in work, in school, if you can trust us that as soon as we're able to get in touch with you, we're going to sort it out. We'll find a way to sort it out, whether it's the test, then you got kicked out of the test, whatever is happening. Your group is having a challenge and we need to get together. Whatever is happening, it's just really important that you trust that we're going to sort it out. And it's important, finally, I think this is the end of the slides. Oh, no, just week 1, we tell you, find your small group. Respond, there's going to be just some questions in the small group posting to get to know each other. Look at the course syllabus and the description of the assignments, and make sure you do that discussion in your small groups about which week you will co-lead, right? Because you need to do that. And you're going to complete for 3 marks that in-course scavenger hunt where you're going to look around the course shelf. It's also really important to recognize that as you're doing these group postings, only the names of contributors to the post can be put on the post, right? Only those who contributed to creating the group posting can have their names added to the post. If your name is not on that group posting, then you cannot receive any marks for it. So it's essential that all team members work together by an approved timeline within the group, and that only the names of the contributors of the small group who contributed to that posting will go on the post. And then you do your individual postings in the following weeks. I think that's it for us today. I hope that you could hear me over the din here. I hope you're looking forward to the course, and I really am hoping that you have a lot of fun in it and that you're able to learn something in it, and that as we move our way through, all of us get to know each other better and to learn about each other and to learn with each other. So looking forward to seeing you in week 1, and I think that's all we've got for now.